Sims Complete, a part of the Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. The Super Bowl odds for the Seattle Seahawks are 4.5 favorites. Everyone is picking Seattle.
Yep.
Phil, what
Yep.
would you like to say now?
For all the parents out there, raise your kid differently than I did.
I'm only saying this because I'm in San Francisco and you're in New Jersey. That's the only reason why I had that tone right there.
Yeah, no, it's good.
I'm far enough away from.
No, well, what am I going to do? Yeah. I'm old. You'd beat my ass if I ever raised my hand against you. So I got to be careful. The tide has turned in many ways, So, oh well.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's just kind of go through the segments real quick.
Okay.
As far as like Seattle's offense. Okay. The one thing that I think, well, I don't know if we're going to agree on it or not, is both teams do want to run the ball, and it's real.
Yeah.
And they don't really get away from it unless it just becomes a situation where they really have no choice.
Right.
And that's, and it's, I'm sitting here and you just got to admit, running the football and, stopping the run on the other side. Can we get to the quarterback? Those things, we got it in both teams.
Yeah.
They're almost like we both believe exactly in what we're doing and the other team is doing.
That's right.
And it's really, so we got to start with Sam Darnold. And, deep down, I'm rooting for him because I don't want to seem, or I don't want to hear the negative stuff that's, well, we knew it was coming sooner or later, so he didn't have to play great or be the MVP, anything like that. I just hope he works himself into the game.
Yeah.
I'm always big in that. Man,
I hope Clint Kubiak helps him get into the game, right? I think that's the biggest thing for both coordinators in this matchup, right? For Josh and for Clint is just easy completions if you can find them early, right? To allow your quarterbacks to then settle into the game, right?
Well,
and to have fun and to go from there.
If they don't, I would be shocked. And I look at especially Sam Darnold, they have a good variety of screens. And it wouldn't shock me the first play of the game is a play action fake throw a screen to one side or the other.
Yeah.
And, sometimes they don't gain a yard. And what do they do? He'll throw another screen the next play.
Right.
And both teams are I think Seattle throws more of them than New England does. Mm-hmm. But that's just one way to get into it. And Sam Darnold, he's played really well. We've talked about it. His footwork is tremendous. The other thing, just spending time on this, he does look off defenders more than I think, wow, I don't know why I didn't notice this before. Yeah. But he'll drop back and look here, and he'll just turn and throw the whole other side of the ball.
He absolutely does.
And he's not looking at the guy. He's just looking with his head. He doesn't even see the damn receiver because
he's setting him up.
He's just setting them up. So that's pretty cool. And I just think they do a great job. I think when they do run play actions, Matt, you know what I say? Man, you should run more of those because the timing of his drop and his throws, and they're always, most of the time, it's aggressive throws down the field.
Yeah,
it is. I think the other thing too, you talk about the coaches and Clint Kubiak, and it's not only getting the quarterback in the rhythm, it's making sure you take care of your offense. It's a lot. Take care of the offensive line by letting them hit somebody, and of course, sooner or later, get that damn ball to these wide receivers, which is pretty exciting watching. So, what's some of your thoughts about Seattle's offense?
I think that's a great start, and I think you're right. Both teams are going to kind of emphasize just establishing the run and really letting their offensive line kind of tee off on the opposing defensive line, because I think both offensive lines are going to be at a disadvantage in obvious passing situations. For the New England Patriots offensive line and passing situations, you got to think, hey, Wilson, Campbell, two young football players on the left side of your offensive line. You don't want Leonard Williams and Lawrence, taking turns saying, hey, it's my turn on the young rookie here on 3rd and 12. I would like that opportunity, so that's interesting. And then, of course, for Seattle, it's a little bit more of you want to run the football well because you don't want the strong physical aspect of New England's pass rush, which seems to be more of like a speed to power type of rush where they're more focused on collapsing the pocket always, like a Vrabel defense as a player in New England. That's what they gotta fight against, so it's a little bit of a different challenge, where Seattle, it's like speed and talent. With New England, it's the power, right? It's the collapsing of the pocket, right, on all fronts, with guys like Barmore and Milton Williams, who can kind of do a little of everything there in the interior.
Yeah, New England, their their defense has changed in my eyes with the playoffs.
Yeah.
That they're blitzing. I don't know the numbers. I didn't look them up. I was thinking, but I said, man, that takes too much time. I'm not going to bother. But my eye tells me the blitzing, a couple things. Their timing on their blitzes has been terrific.
Really good, yeah.
Not only now we catch you by surprise just a little bit, but we got really talented guys rushing the passer.
Yeah.
So that's a really big deal. And I think for New England's offense, of course, with Will Campbell, I always get the damn left guard, Jared Wilson.
Yeah.
Wilson. We had a dog named Wilson. I should never forget that. But those two, yes, those two are, I think, huge in this game. And I can't imagine, especially early, if Josh McDaniels doesn't always formation, extra guys, tight end, running, whatever it takes to make sure you get off to a good start with those two guys.
Yeah.
Because, Matt, when you watch teams play them, and I think Seattle is great at this, they get a game going. They literally go out and tackle somebody. I mean, it looks like they're going to tackle them. They just beat. And then the wraparound coming towards the quarterback, it's almost it seems like it's almost impossible.
Yeah. They are phenomenal at that pick game there. And what's funny too is that the guy who's actually setting the pick is usually the one that actually ends up getting the sack, right? Which I love that.
And the other guy comes around, all of a sudden he goes, "Oh, I got a free lane." You're right.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to watch that. And I think the other thing is too that I've noticed that gives me a little. I go to the Seattle side a little bit in this. You know, Will Campbell, he's a rookie tackle, drafted in the first round. He's had a tremendous year, but he gives a lot of ground really quick.
Right.
And it's too much for me because when he does give ground so much, then the defensive end, what do? They just try to run him over.
Yeah.
Because he's going backwards and I'm going forward.
Well, again, in a matchup, it's Drake May's legs that are probably going to be one of the deciding factors of New England winning. Is like if he can scramble and make a play or two here or there to keep drives alive, to extend drives on third downs, maybe as an explosive like he did against the Chargers, who knows? That could be the difference in it. Just Drake May being a football player in that sense. And Seattle has to be very careful with how aggressive they are getting after the passer and not getting too out of place to sell out to get the sack.
I think the big thing in that is that this defense is fast. It's fast everywhere. The secondary, I think, is really fast.
Agree. Yeah.
It's almost a detriment to them.
Yeah.
Because they try to intercept everything.
Yeah, they do.
That's why they give up some, double out and ups or whatever it is, because they're going for the kill.
Right.
Yeah. What were we talking about though? When you were talking about there, I had a point. I've already forgot it.
The defensive line? Yeah.
Yeah, no, Seattle, the defense.
Yeah.
Let the defensive line just go all out. But when they play zone, now they got their eyes on the quarterback.
Right. That'll
be interesting. Where you get hurt with quarterback runs is when you're playing man to man and nobody sees you.
Yeah.
And I wrote that down in my notes. They show you one thing, which I think now this is another thing about Seattle's defense. I just noticed more than I did with New England. When the ball is snapped, they love to change the whole concept of what they're doing. They kind of talk to you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's some keys there that New England says, yeah, when they do this, they're going to go into too deep and play it really safe and careful. So many things can change. They could play nothing but zones and never blitz New England if the pass rush is getting there. And if it's not, then they're going to, sprinkle in some blitzes and be a little more aggressive in pass coverage, stuff like that. So Drake May, he's going to get to play a game. I don't know, what's the forecast in the game, Matt? Do you know yet?
I think as far as the weather goes, it's going to be a nice day. It was projected earlier on in the week that it had some chances of rain, but as we get closer to the game, it looks like it's going to be less and less. So it should be,
good,
like a cool night, basically, when the sun sets.
Because Drake May, he must think, man, what am I doing wrong in life? Because every 3 playoff games, it was bad weather.
Yeah.
And people, his stats. Well, I got some news for you out there. When you're playing in snow and rain and good defenses and wind, you're going to play pretty average. Uh,
Right, which is why I gave you a ton of credit with your career and how you played in that all the time, right?
I got
And but you're right, and I think that's a big part of it. And also too, like, hey, he is a young quarterback still,
yeah.
and they're a good offense. I wouldn't say they're a great offense, and that's just the facts. I mean, and that really both teams are great reflections of each other in a little bit way, but
They
you would
are.
have to say that the Seattle offense has proven to be a little bit more explosive
Yeah.
consistently throughout the year. But not by much, right? And that's the thing. Like it's very closely contested. But let's do a little bit of an exercise here
Well, let me
going
just
through the go ahead.
yeah, let me just say this. Talk about the offense real quick with Josh.
Yeah.
Well, yes, he's going to do everything he has to do what to this defense to try to keep it off balance a little bit.
Right. And we're going to talk about that when we get to the coaching aspect. So let's just do that right now. Let's talk
Okay.
about the coaching matchup, right?
Okay.
Let's go offensive coaching, right? You're going to give the edge to who in this conversation?
Wow. Well, I'm going to say I would say a slight edge to Clint Kubiak just because I think overall they're a better offense talent wise than New England is.
You do think that they're a better offensive talent team right now?
Yes. I mean, look
Okay.
at the wide receiver group. Just that alone gets me going. The tight ends are very capable. And I think their variety of what the plays and everything they do, I give the edge to Seattle there.
Oh,
Whoops.
sorry. My mic cut off for a second. Okay.
Right. So give me your quick thoughts about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I almost when I think about this matchup, I kind of in some weird ways think that New England is the better offense, like as far as their skill group goes,
Right.
because I like the fact of course, Hunter Henry, but like Mac Hollins, Kayshawn Booty, Stephon Diggs, the two-headed monster there in the backfield. You got Kyle Williams still as well, who can make an impact. Like, I just feel like they have a little bit more flexibility with being able to create opportunities for multiple guys. Whereas, like, when I look at Seattle and kind of their situation, I know it's Shaheed, but he doesn't always necessarily make a huge impact in their game. Now, if it's
No.
one-on-one situation, okay, yeah, we've seen that happen against LA, but it's not something that they consistently do.
Right.
And then, of course, JSN. Kenneth Walker is now the only back outside of Charbonnet, so that's an issue for me too a little bit as the game
Okay.
continues to wear on. He's got to carry a lot of that load. Holani's good, but like I don't think they're going to rely on him a ton for carries. And then, hey, Cooper Kupp and JSN, that's where it goes to. And I feel like Cooper Kupp, no doubt he's a tactician, but I feel like this goes back to like the physicality of the secondary of New England. I think that this potentially could be a tough matchup for Cooper Kupp. I can see someone like a Marcus Jones or Carlton Davis having some battles where they win against Cooper Kupp in one-on-one situations.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and they'll do a better job of tracking JSN than other teams have, especially like, they're not going to get away with, oh yeah, JSN lined up in the backfield. Oh, we totally forgot where he is. Like they're not going to
Yeah.
have those
That'll never
snafus,
happen.
right? Yeah.
It-
So
the
that's
good
where I
thing
feel like that's a difference in the game. That's where I
Right.
feel like I probably give a little bit more of an edge to Josh McDaniels and that skill group because there is no like one point of access, right, to their success.
Okay. Well, here are my thoughts. First, I'll do Seattle real quick.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker, I'm not concerned about him at all. The
Right.
damn guy, he smashes it up in there and he runs as hard as just about what you want your running back to do. But
Right.
what really makes him, I think, special, he can go sideways as good as just about any running back I've seen too.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
he goes and he's gone, so that catches my eye. For Josh McDaniel, I wrote this and I did many New England games and he was the coordinator there. He loves to do what? He loves to keep you off balance right away.
Yeah.
And how does he do that? Flea flickers. He runs true option plays with the quarterback, Drake May.
Yeah.
He loves reverses, boots, which they're very good at. And
The double passes. He's been very known to do double passes in critical situations. So, like, wouldn't be shocked if we see Stephon Diggs, catch a wide receiver screen and then start to wind up to throw a bomb down the field, something like that.
He's got a whole list of things, how to slow these damn guys down, and he does.
Yeah.
He has the boots. The boots are, I think, almost always one way. They're going to fake left and roll right because it's just another way to protect their damn offensive line. And that's what you see. And Drake May is very good throwing on the run and running. You talked about that. And then Clint Kubiak, the great thing that he does, he has a quarterback that can go through his reads now fast.
Right.
Not where it's too fast, but it's just exactly the timing is great. And I would say over the last 6 or 7 weeks, I watched every Seattle game pretty close. And I just was like, gosh, they always seem to have something that's going to crack it open. And it's just like Josh McDaniels. He has all this built up with his history being a coordinator, and Clint Kubiak being young. He sets up his players to have success, and especially the quarterback.
Yeah.
And the tougher spot to play for quarterbacks, I think, is Seattle, because they ask you to make a lot of decisions where it's 3 guys. One of them are going to be open, and you got to find him.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that really I kind of like.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's a lot of plays with Drake May in New England where it's like we're throwing here and that's it. When you watch the film, you can kind of tell like that's the answer to the test. And yeah, that's a great point by you, big guy. And something to keep in mind too, like with this matchup, right, is that for both quarterbacks and what we were saying earlier about the offensive line play and running the football and all of that, both of these coaches I think have displayed throughout the season in critical moments. They move the pocket to set up opportunities for their quarterbacks. They do the long play action boot set up, throw back across the field, the screens that you mentioned, and that's going to be a huge thing to offset some of the great defensive talent that we have in the field. Let's now go to though, right? Just right through it. We're going to go through each group, and you're going to just say, "Hey, I'm going with Seattle's group. I'm going with New England's group, right down the line." So we'll start. Let's start with. We'll go with the position groups first. All right. So we're not going to do QB first. Let's go with the running backs. All right. Running back situation in Seattle, running back situation in New England, Big Phil.
Well, New England has a little bit of advantage. They got multiple running backs that can do it. So I would have to give the edge to them. Kenneth Walker, hey, man, sleep well the night before because we're going to work you out, big guy.
Yeah. Okay.
He loves it. You're a running back, and there's nothing like hearing, "Hey, we're going to run the ball today," and you're like, "Yeah."
I go with New England too. It's New England to me because it is the 2-headed monster, and I feel like there is that physicality. Ramondre Stevenson has also shown that he has an ability to create explosive plays as well. Travion Henderson absolutely can be a home run hitter too. So advantage New England in that aspect.
Ramondre Stevenson, he can crack helmets.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, you said it right. Go ahead.
All right, now receivers, Seattle or New England, big guy?
Well, you made such a great point about New England that you almost swayed me, but that's where it is. No, I like Seattle. I just like the fact that they're given so many opportunities to create big plays.
Right.
I don't feel like that the New England does that. And Cooper Kupp, hey, he might not be the fastest guy out there, but what they do, they give him, certain plays where his athletic ability, his ability to catch, and his brain tells him exactly what to do.
Agree.
And, I know you talk about tight ends and all that in the game, but I'll just go with the wide receivers. I like my receivers more with New England with Seattle than I do New England.
Yeah, and for this one, like we can kind of group the tight ends into that group as well, right? Just because we're thinking about it from the advantage of passing attack and all that. So
right.
I get that. Okay, so you're going with Seattle in this one with JSN, with Cooper Kupp, right? And yes, AJ Barner, who I really think is a guy that's been kind of quiet in the playoffs, will have to have some sort of an impact in this football game, I think, for them to win this game. And this is where for me, like, all right, do I go with what I think is the better overall group, I think, that can kind of do a little of everything, or do I go with the star power of JSN? I'm going to lean towards the can do a little of everything group, right? So I'm going to go with New England in this one for the receivers group, and really just because of the collective group, even though the star power is definitely with Seattle in that one. All right, so now
let me say this real quick. JSN, I love just saying his initials. But thinking of Bill Belichick and who Mike Vrabel listened to and probably got more out of him as whatever,
Yeah.
is that his number one thing was let's make them play left-handed. Let's take away their number one guy.
Yeah.
So it would not shock me to see some type of double coverage or whatever on Jackson Smith and Jigma to see if that is really can be a big factor in the game that helps New England go ahead and win the game. So,
and to add to your point, because I think it's a fantastic point, one of the things that I would think a New England style of play would be defensively is we are going to hit JSN at the line of scrimmage a lot.
Yep.
And that's where someone like I would literally tell the secondary if I was a part of that coaching staff, it was just like, we're okay with a holding call or two here and there, especially early on in the game, or a PI, as long as we're getting a good hit on him, we're wearing him out, and we're just making him realize that there's a physical presence to our game, right?
Yep.
Because they're not going to call pass interference all the time, and it's the Super Bowl. So I feel like you can be a little bit more like, yeah, you can toe that line a little bit as far as like, yeah, we're going to be a little aggressive until we're told not to. So
yeah, love it.
Definitely interesting.
Great point going against the number one receiver. Yeah. And like I said,
hit him.
90 New England games. And it was every week. Well, we're going to take this guy away.
Yeah.
This, tight end, back, wide receiver, didn't matter. They're going to take number one out.
No doubt. And no doubt Clint Kubiak is going to be using a ton of motion to protect JSN because of that thought, I think. Let's go offensive lines now. Who's the better offensive line in the matchup in your eyes?
Well, I'm going with Seattle without even thinking, because
agree.
I don't get scared thinking, oh, we got to protect this guy. No, the left side of New England's offensive line next year, they're going to just tell us all to go to hell because they're going to be really good pros. And
yeah.
But right now they're still fighting through it. And here they are. They're getting put on the stage in America against four damn good defense. I mean, four good defenses in a row. Dang. Will Campbell's over there going, yeah, it's great to be in the Super Bowl, but damn, I hope we win. This thing's over.
Yeah.
It's been rough. It's rough.
All right. So we both got the Seattle Seahawks with the offensive line. Now let's transition to the defensive front seven. We'll include linebackers and defensive line. Who has the better front seven? This is the defense side of the football. Let's just put check marks with both sides straight down the line. I mean, it's very hard to separate the groups really here, but top front sevens.
Yeah, I'm looking, and I keep these sheets, but you just go down, you go, oh, I like him. Oh, I forgot. Oh, he's really good. Oh, shoot. Harold Landry. Holy God. What was he doing free out there? Whatever. Spillane, who you love. And I do too. It's really tough. I'm going to give the slightest of slightest edges. I'm going to go New England.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. It's hard to argue that.
I think New England will do more creative stuff with their players on the defensive front than Seattle will.
Interesting.
I'm going to go with them. Yeah, and like I've already said, as I watch their games in the playoffs and I just kind of study them more, I just go, man, they call the blitz at the right time and it's clever. And, I just keep – and not only that, the guys getting to the quarterback are their stars.
Right.
So it's small, but I'm going to give New England a slight edge there.
All right, so I'm going to go with Seattle in this one. I just think, with the DeMarcus Lawrence, Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, Derek Hall, Nwosu, of course, being kind of like an edge linebacker type.
Yeah.
And even, too, like if we're thinking about the front seven with Ernest Jones, of course, who I think is playing some really good ball as well. There's also the aspect of like, Nick Manwari, even though he's a nickel back, I still, in my mind, almost see him as a front seven person.
Yeah.
So he's almost kind of like one of those swingmen where I know he's listed as a nickel, right? Or whatever, a safety, however you want to label him. But I do see him as like kind of part of that front seven and a guy who can sack the quarterback, right? And they do blitz him on occasion there off the edge. So I'm going to go with Seattle just because I do think that they have a little bit more versatility, a little bit more depth as well. Because, hey, you got Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy. Guess what? Then there's Jerron Reed coming into the game, right? And he's a problem. Right. And he's a big player. So I feel like they got a good little mixture of everything there in Seattle as far as they got power and they got speed as well.
Mori, he's so interesting. I had him about 3 times in my notes for different things. So,
Yeah.
it's really interesting. A nickelback being, I don't know if we talked about a nickelback this way the whole year.
Well, one of the cool things is about Seattle is that they take tremendous pride in the fact that they can stop the run and be physical in nickel, which means they have 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and they feel like they still can stop a team that's lined up with 2 tight end sets or a heavy set and say, yeah, we're okay. We actually don't need more big people out here. We're going to still win this matchup.
So true. So true.
So let's go now to secondaries. Who is the better secondary in this matchup between New England, right, and the Seattle Seahawks?
Man, I got my cheat sheet right here.
Check your notes one more time. Yeah.
No, these are just depths. I'm looking at the backups and some of it, but
yeah,
I'm going Seattle. I don't even have to think about it. I don't like their secondary. I love it.
Wow.
I love their speed. I love how they're built.
Yep.
They kind of fit the mold of what everybody wants in a corner. Fast as hell, tall, long arms, the whole thing. So
yeah,
I can tell you don't like that, but that's who I like.
No, I do. And I think honestly, I do. And I think just for the sake of the exercise, I'm going to go with New England just to kind of just remind everybody of
they got
dudes, right? I love Marcus Jones in the slot. I think that's going to be one, you got to keep an eye on just how they play Marcus Jones in the slot. I'm so curious to see how they decide to attack them with Carlton Davis and Christian Gonzalez. Carlton Davis is one of those guys too, kind of gets overlooked, super physical.
Love him.
Gets after it. I mean, just like an old school corner that kind of does everything, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Craig Woodson, right, at safety with Jalen Hawkins. And I know it's Craig Woodson, only a rookie, but he's done some good things too. And it's going to be big for him to be locked into this game and be ready to go because it's obviously going to be a tough matchup, right, with Clint Kubiak's offense. But yeah, I'm going to go with New England here with the secondary, even though it is by a hair as far as our exercise go.
It's great. It really is. It's great.
So now special teams, big guy. Special teams. Who we got here in this situation? Of course, Andy Borregales, Myers, right? We talk about Super Bowls here. The quarterback, this, that. It might come down to Myers and Borregales. That'll be the
down. I was all over it. I'm writing them down. There's Borregales. He was 40 from 50 to 59 yards. He was 4 for 4. So that gives you a little confidence if you have to send him out there for a long field goal. And Jason Myers, 50 plus, 9 of 12. Man, the head coach, get your ass out there and kick it. We don't care. It's 57. It's funny.
Come on, man.
I mean, these are big numbers, and all the big games that both these teams play.
Right.
So but you know what, Matt? It's the Super Bowl. So when you go out there to kick that field goal, it definitely has a different meaning. I don't care if it's the first drive of the game, which it could be. You go out there and you go, what is this? 80 yards? It's 29. Damn, looks like they. You know what I mean? Mentally, it's just got to be. You got to make sure it's not a head game, because if it's a head game, it's bad. But both kickers have had good years, and Seattle's willing to kick it, and has more. I don't want to say more faith in their kicker. They just don't care. That's a lot of attempts past 50 yards.
Yeah, and I mean, let's add to this as well, right? So even guys like Bryce Behringer, right, and even Michael Dixon, the punting game will be huge for field position as well. Marcus Jones as a punt returner, Kyle Williams as a kick returner, right? Got to keep your eye on that. And then of course the trade for Rashid Shaheed as the kick returner, punt returner as well for Seattle. That's where we could have a maybe Jacoby Jones-like performance in a Super Bowl, where you were down there in New Orleans for Ravens 49ers, and Jacoby Jones really took over the game, right? With his ability to be a phenomenal returner and to have explosive plays and to kind of just change the energy of the building. So, the special teams thing is absolutely huge, right? Even I think about guys like Brendan Schooler, right? One of the best gunners in football right now. It's he might have a huge impact in this game. We saw it with Seattle and LA in that championship game. It's very possible we see it play out this exact same way again here too in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I have to admit, you talking about those last guys, I got to tell you, I don't know any of them. Just because
That's okay.
It's special teams. I only got so much here. I'm looking at
only got so much bandwidth. We get it. It's a lot.
I'm looking at New England's depth chart. I don't know if you can see. And man, there's a lot of red. A lot.
Yeah.
That means they're rookies.
Yeah.
And you just go, oh my God, New England, they're building this thing. This is not like a 1-year wonder. They're going to be better next year.
That's right. It's exactly right.
Look out. They're arguably they could go in the next year and preseason. You go, yeah, I think New England's the best team in the league.
Well, they definitely will be up there in like the top of the list as far as just again like within their own division and with the AFC, and that's all that matters, right? So, all right, but like who, do you want to give a nod to someone in the special teams category here, big guy?
No, it's out of my league. I'm not even.
Is that really okay? All right. So hey, we'll pass on the special teams, right? But we just know that it's damn important. There's 3.
Yeah, no. What I mean,
all right.
The special teams. I'm giving a nod to these kickers. That's
it.
All right. Morgalis would be the one I would say I'll go with him.
Yeah. Listen, we don't know anything. We don't know shit about kicking, so we're just gonna have to say that good luck to both kickers, and hey, we'll see what happens. But it's interesting too. Like I think Vrabel and them, like that's where it's like the Bill Belichick background on all of that. Like he is willing to take some risks on the special teams aspect as well. So I feel like the Patriots are kind of in that underdog role, and it gives them, I think, a little bit more freedom to just say, yeah, hey, if we need to, we can take these risks. We can do some different things here to kind of offset the game if we have to. Coaching, big guy. Let's just go the whole coaching staff too. Let's not say, the offensive staff is even just which coaching staff do you give the advantage to in this matchup?
I'm going to say New England. I like them both. I mean, I think they both have coached their teams and all that. I would say overall, this game, or as they play each other, even if it was a regular season, to go, this might be the matchup of 2 head coaches that manage the game as good or better than everybody else in the NFL.
Right.
I think Mike Vrabel, of course, I probably paid a little more attention to him than I do other, head coaches just because I feel like I know him and everything. He does a phenomenal job of managing almost every damn game I've watched. You just go, God, it was another great decision by him.
Yeah, it is.
It's many ways with the offense, the blitz, the flea flicker, or special teams. And man, Vrabel, he's got his hand on it, and it's been really, really good.
Agree.
And I think the last thing is too, well, they both have done a great job of connecting to their players. And like I've said, and I've already said it 10 times this week, is Mike Vrabel. It's not about the X's and O's. It's about your relationship with the players.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're going to be nice to them. You're going to tell them the truth, and you do it the right way, and they whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? You
of course.
When I say that, everybody go, "Oh, maybe he's really not."
No, and unfortunately, when you make this point, and I've made points like this similar this week at the Super Bowl, and when I'm talking to someone who has played to a certain level of football, they're like, "Yep, totally get what you're saying."
Right.
And then when you think about people that are very analytic driven, right, who have really never have had that opportunity to be in that world, they're kind of just like, yeah, okay. And it's like, I get it. You just don't know. And that's not your fault. The analytics, they're important. They're a big part of the game. But yes, there is just the human heart to heart aspect of motivating 70 different individuals and finding the right way to get them going, to make sure that they're locked in, prepping them the right way, not pushing them too hard, and peaking at the right time. I mean, that in itself is the greatest art that McDonald and Vrabel have to do this week.
No doubt.
And it all happens before the game, right? It's all happens before the actual game management starts, right? Yeah. So that's something that I think just like you kind of have to be someone who's had that experience, in those locker rooms as a coach, as a player, somewhere like that, where you kind of understand what we're talking about, because it is almost like a language that's, we can speak it, but unless you've experienced it, you really don't know what it means, to be in that situation.
Yeah, it's I was listening to an interview yesterday. Jeffrey Simmons, the great D tackle for the Tennessee Titans,
Yeah, yeah,
talking to your brother, and he said, even though the team, it was, there was never any, nobody was really ever upset. And he says the year was going along, we just got tighter and tighter as a group that
right.
we're in this. Nobody's bitching about the other guy. He goes, even though we're not winning, we're just getting better. And he
Yeah,
said we started playing better. And, basically what he's telling me, he goes, man, I wish we still had the same coach,
right.
because it sounds like the management of the players was going well. They would have meetings and, man, we love, we're all together and we want to do this. And it did turn, when you follow the Titans this past year,
Yeah,
towards the end of the year, you're going,
they were
man.
different. They were a different team.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
of course, just a side note, he could not say enough things about Cam Ward. He goes, man, we followed
yeah.
that dude. We all follow him. He right
I
away, he was the
I
man.
know. I know. And like I tried to tell you that throughout the year too, of just like, he's just a different dude. And like I understand, because our question marks, right, when we're watching the film was just like, okay, Cam, like
Yeah,
stop. Stop. Like just play NFL quarterback now. Like
right,
understand it's different.
right.
But what I do love about Cam is that he is that 1% that is, a healthy psycho to what you got to do this, right? And to be motivated and to be really encouraging and just say, hey, to not let yourself deviate from like, oh, that's okay. It's like, no, it's not okay. It's not
Right.
okay. We expect more of each other, So he's very unique in that way for a young quarterback, and I love to hear that, right, from a guy like Simmons, who's
Yeah, it was great.
he's seen a thing or two, in his
Yeah,
career. Yeah,
yeah. So immediately I'm sitting there going, man, Tennessee.
right. Yeah. Well, keep an eye on these dogs.
Oh,
But
yes.
that's really cool too, like for him to share that, right? And even in defense of Coach Callahan and just how it ended there for him.
Yeah,
And
that's tough.
it also shows you though too that just the players have to take ownership as well, right? And it is a ballet. It is a relationship, a collaboration, and the players have to have ownership of their team as well and how they lead the team within that own group outside of the message from the head coach. So really, really cool thing that he shared.
All right. So now what are we down to? Let's see. We got to do
Pick the game. Let's go, big guy. Who you got?
So for once, you go first. I want to hear what you got to say.
Man, I am going to go like as we get closer to the weekend, I can't lie. I'm getting more and more like New England.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
really am. But I'm going to pick Seattle, and I'm going to say Seattle wins 24-21. I'm going to keep it just like a simple score, but I do think it's going to come down to like a field goal at the end. I think New England is going to make this game ugly. I think that they're capable of making it very tough on Clint Kubiak in the offense. And I think that they'll do just enough offensively to hang in there and play tough. I'm still curious to see how healthy Drake May is in the shoulder. I'm still curious to see how Sam Darnold looks with the oblique and how aggressive he's throwing it. So those are huge question marks to me for both quarterbacks. I'm going to take those Seattle to edge out this football game because I just think maybe their defense will be able to make a play or two as well. I'm going to take Seattle by a field goal.
Yeah, I'm going to take Seattle too. I'm going to say 23-17. I think as long as, you always talk about turnovers, and I'd just say it this way, turnovers, if there's a few turnovers in the game, that will drive the score up probably.
Right. Yes.
So I think they both understand the getting off to a good start, managing the game the right way. And, just there's so much history and so many things to look at what's happened in the past. It really translates to even this year.
Yeah.
The head coach and decision making and who your team is. I think Seattle overall is the more veteran team, more battle tested.
Right.
Well, I shouldn't say that because
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
But New England went through hell with their 3 playoff games. I mean,
Yeah.
But I give him a slight edge. And the quarterback, I know he's a second-year guy, Drake May, but Sam Darnold, and I don't like doing this either, but I am. Sam Darnold's got to outplay Drake May. If Drake May's really kind of got it going, Sam Darnold's got to go, okay, I'm gonna take a few shots here and make sure we stay in this game the way we want to.
Question: if the game is a shootout, does that play into Seattle's favor more
Oh, it's
or New
Seattle.
England? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh,
Yeah.
Seattle by far to me.
That's what I mean. Like they'll be more comfortable, I feel like, in that environment, just because I feel like they've kind of been in a few more of those games more recently too.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of curious to see what your thoughts. And
I
there's no doubt too. Like when I think about this matchup as well, even with Drake May, like you got to be thinking for McDonald, like send a few of these random blitzes and have guys like a Manwari being spying on Drake May, right? So it's like line up guys, hey, send him, wait for the line of scrimmage, and when he scrambles, hey, go and get him. Like I feel like that might be an example too of just like a small game plan wrinkle of trying to navigate some of his legs in some situations.
Yeah, listen, there is no doubt early in the game, if they're going to play man-to-man coverage, they better spy Drake May.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't even sit here and as I say it, I go, of course they're going to do it.
Right.
They're going to stop that crap right away. If you don't
Yeah.
run and you get this thing going, and you're going to play, if you're going to play 4 rushers and that's it, then look out. He's
Right.
going to pull it down. Then the other thing is too, yeah, Seattle's defensive front, it's tough and all that other stuff. But Drake May is a big dude. He's going to break arm tackles if you only rush 4.
No
And
doubt.
if you don't have anybody waiting for him, then somewhere in that game you're going to change your mind, I would think. So
Toodles. Yeah.
Doodles. Yeah, it's gonna, listen, I don't care if the score is 10-7, it will be exciting as hell because it brings, oh my God,
Yeah.
all we gotta do is score 1 touch, you know what I mean?
I know.
Most games are high pressured
Yeah.
because one mistake, whatever, you lose the game.
Yeah.
So,
No doubt. No doubt. All right, big guy. That was great stuff today.
yeah. What was the over under on the game? I forgot.
4.5 brought to you by FanDuel.
That's the over under.
Oh, the over under, excuse me. I want to say it was set at 45, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 45.5, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is, 45.5. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'd be surprised. I would go under in the game.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Go under.
Yeah.
So I'm
All right.
taking the Seahawks and the under is what I've said. So
All right. There you go. You had it here first. Phil Sims,
all
brought to you by
right.
FanDuel. He's taken the Seahawks and the under. Past all of the Super Bowl shenanigans. And we're starting to come back to the realization, like that there's this really big game going on this weekend. And it's going to be awesome and really looking forward to it. How has your week been so far, right, in prepping for the Super Bowl? How much film have you put in, right?
Too much.
Too much, yeah.
We need 2 hours. I got to talk about every player,
Right, yeah, right.
It's unbelievable. But the more you do, the more you like it and everything.
Yeah.
And I hope the Super Bowl lives up to what we always hope in the Super Bowl. I hope it
Yeah.
lives up to what I saw in the Pro Bowl game. That was exciting stuff. Great. Are you kidding me? Jesus.
I mean, it was so bad it was good, like it was so just slapstick, I'm like, okay. At the beginning I was like, this is terrible. And then as it kept going, I was like, you know what? Just hey, let's bring in some clowns. Let's let's just make it a whole circus because that's what it felt like.
Well, here's what it really does. This bothers me here.
Yeah.
Is that the 17th guy at every position is at the Pro Bowl. And now will be, he made the Pro Bowl in this year.
Yeah, it needs to be, there's the list of the Pro Bowl players, and then it's the people who participate in the Pro Bowl events, right? That needs to be 2 separate,
Yeah,
it does. Like, because it's not even, and let's not even call it the Pro Bowl. Let's just call it like, the Super Bowl pregame event or whatever. It doesn't matter. It could be anything, but it's just, it's definitely not what the Pro Bowl used to be. And that's fine. It's changing, but it's not a great product at the moment.
Okay, understatement of the whole year, but in our podcast, yes.
All right, good start to the show.
Oh my God, and they scored a touchdown on the last play.
But you know what? Here, let's redirect here because Big Guy, you and I, we've been talking about this movie here recently. Of course, you watched it with Dee Dee. My wife and I, we watched it as well. I watched it actually the second time with my wife the other day. The Smashing Machine, right? With Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Benny Safdie film. It's nominated for 1 Oscar, but a really interesting and fun sports movie that obviously touches upon like a lot of, tough themes, right, and
Yeah, it did.
topics in athletics. And the main story is about a gentleman named Mark Kerr, who was a world champion wrestler, grappler, Division I NCAA champion, all that, born and raised in Ohio. And here I am at the Super Bowl Radio Row, walking around, and a gentleman comes up to me and he goes, hey, we're trying to do this interview with Mark Kerr here with ESPN. And I was like, where is he? Where is he? I said, bring me to him right now. They bring me over there to Mark Kerr, and I'm just like, hey, man, just so pleased to meet you. I would love to talk to you, like just one-to-one. And he put his hand out there for the handshake. And as soon as I shook this man's hand, I was like, yep, this is the smashing machine. I mean, that's where I was like, man, do not get in a fight with this guy in a parking lot. Like,
he's got those down hands. Yes, I know.
It's going down, man. It's going down. I mean, he was built like a linebacker.
Well, how did you know him and remember or know this?
So I was familiar with Mark Kerr and this pride thing because remember at the time when I was working out at Parisi's there in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, right, as a young athlete, I was trained by Martin Rooney, right, who was one of those guys that really changed even how we view the combine and the training for that. He's the one who trained Chris Long, the first guy to run it in tights, so people could really see like how aggressive and how big he is running down the turf and all that. And how they changed the rules of the starts because Martin Rooney was just that critical of how he was exploiting how they set it up. But Martin had a background in pride, in MMA, and trained with a bunch of these guys, especially with like the Gracie family in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And Mark Kerr's name would come up in those conversations a lot. And then, of course, pride was like its own thing. And the concept of pride, and I talked to Mark about this, the concept of pride was to basically do like that version of it's a different style of fighting from all over the world. It's wrestling, it's jiu-jitsu, it's boxing, it's this, it's taekwondo, and see whose style is the best. That was the premise of pride. What style of fighting is the ultimate style, right, of a warrior? And Mark was essentially the American representation of American wrestling, right? American wrestling and grappling. And was one of those guys that, like in the beginning, big guy, the rules of this were, as you could see in the movie, if anyone's seen it out there, spoiler alert, there's some graphic moments there. It gets pretty gnarly pretty quickly.
Yeah, sure.
And it is. And this guy, like, it's so great to hear him talk about it, how he's just like, there's wrestling, and he's like, but then there's the primitive aspect of what we were doing on top of that. And he goes, that was special. And I was just like, that is so scary that you can go to that place. And then here you are sitting in front of me and you're like the most gracious man like I've ever met. And I think that's just like a great example of all athletes, like including yourself, to be that fiery person and to still be able to have that other side of you.
He was talking because he knew it was this close to death. And it's like, that's scary.
Man.
I mean, come on. It was, and too, I saw the movie. I did like it and everything. I couldn't, but I got to say this, The Rock.
Yeah.
That was rocked up and rocked up on top of the rocked up.
Now, do you see Kerr, though, at the end when they show the credits?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I know.
Rocked up. Rocked up. I mean, he looks like another creature, right? With his neck and his jaw. And you're just like, what? Like, unbelievable how good of shape The Rock got in to look like Mark Kerr, to be that way. But also just unbelievable, too, that Mark Kerr was just one of those one-of-one individuals athletically.
Yeah. God put him on earth for that. He wasn't put on earth to play basketball, to play football. He found his sport. There's no doubt about it. And, and of course, he had all the prerequisites that have a chance to have success.
Yeah.
Tough as hell, built, and everything you said. Can you imagine wrestling that some bitch and he puts a hand on you?
No, not at all.
He put a hand on you like, I quit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, it's over. It's over.
Yeah, the movie was really good. It was good. I did like it. And of course, they were married, right?
No, they get technically they get married right after his last fight within Pride,
Oh, okay.
right? So he goes back home and they get married like 10 days later, right? So
Well, not to
you
change
know.
the subject, she did look good in the movie, so.
Okay. Nice pivot there, Phil.
Yeah, so
Yes, I think, my wife had the exact same thing too of like, Emily Blunt looks good. And I'm
yeah,
like,
she looked good.
yep, sure,
Yeah.
sure. I wasn't sure if I was being set up there, so I was just like, yep, that's right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no, I think, I didn't really know.
Yeah.
Was she? I didn't pay attention.
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that. But she's a hell of an actress
Yeah, she is. Everything she does, it seems like I like, so.
But yeah, that's like one of the bigger moments, right? I think of Super Bowl week for me so far is talking with Mark Kerr, having that
Great.
private conversation where it was like athlete to athlete, man to man, and then to have him come on the ESPN digital show with me and have a one-on-one podcast interview like that, and it really was one of those things like it just kind of happened like all of a sudden. So,
Sure.
really, really grateful for his time and that experience. Adam Shine says hello, big guy.
Oh, Adam
Yep.
Shine, let's see. He has a
Hey.
radio show, right?
Tell your dad I say hi. Like it just, and I love like every time he's like, I feel like I'm about to learn like a state secret, like I feel like I'm about to learn something the CIA has never disclosed before. Like every time he talks, he's
Let's see.
phenomenal.
Here's my message to Adam Shine.
Yeah.
18 games, 3 playoff rounds. That's 21, 22 this week or the week off. So yeah, he hasn't talked to me the whole year. That's what I'm trying to say.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, he was like, tell your dad I said hi. I'm like, okay,
They
I
can
will.
go over to Radio Row. You tell Adam.
Who else? Rich Gannon. Saw Rich Gannon. Great to see Rich Gannon.
Great dude.
Yeah, does a great job with Sirius XM NFL radio. He had just a ton of nice things to say to you. He was like, Phil Simms absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame. I was like, here, I second that, Rich.
But I did a lot of his games. One year I did 8 or 9 Raider games when they went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And, I had never really been around a quarterback as meticulous as him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who was saying. They were kind of saying things about Rich in a meeting. And I go, wait, what? Rich is playing better than any quarterback in the NFL by far right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't mean it to be, what?
I mean, it's the same people that, for me at least, everyone's like trying to still tell me that Drake May's the MVP of the league this week, and I'm just like that. I just don't. I have no time for you. I really just can't have this discussion.
No,
it's not even a discussion.
It's so people get so involved in it and talk, and especially people that support the Patriots, they just can't believe. And hey, come on, man! He had a great year. He's in the Super Bowl. Be quiet and enjoy it.
No doubt. But he's still not the MVP. It's Matt Stafford.
Well, he's not.
Right?
He's not going to win it.
And so, all right. So Rich Gannon says, what's up? He was awesome to catch up with. Simon Wilcots, that was fantastic. Got to hang out with Patrick Peterson too by Sirius XM NFL radio. And I had a great conversation with Patrick Peterson about and I put him on the spot. I'm like, Patrick, I'm dying to ask you this. I'm like, who is the best corner in this game this weekend? And he was like, he goes, I don't know. It's tough. It's not. Now he loves Christian Gonzalez, but as you go through the list, man, he loves Weatherspoon, loves Gonzalez. Carlton Davis, of course. You know who he really is pretty high on too that I love? He was like, I really like Marcus Jones. And he's like, I think Marcus Jones is very important to New England's success. He goes I feel like Marcus Jones can kind of take away whoever number 2 is for Seattle. And I was just like, man, Patrick Peterson saying this, this guy knows about the defensive back position and what it takes to do that. But, to hear him go through this, he goes, that's the group. That's the unsung heroes of both teams right now. The secondary units for both teams, absolutely phenomenal. And later in this show, we will go through, hey, who's got the advantage where? And we'll see kind of which one of us says about this. We have front sevens. We're going to add the secondary to the list to see who's the better secondary.
The secondaries in the game. We'll talk about it, but they could either be. It could be this greatness, disaster.
Right. It's going to be interesting. Yeah,
I think they're both capable of both.
No doubt, I agree with that.
We got here's what I took out of not all my time, but watching. And the great thing is when you got all this time, you just put the film on, or and you just watch one guy. Right. You get to watch him every play.
Right.
Name, and I just see it. And I go, damn, he's good.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And
But
so we're blessed with that. Yeah.
it's the Super Bowl. Will you try to be too aggressive? And I'll probably say this more to the Seattle defensive backs than New England's. Seattle, man, they think every pass is supposed to be to the corners.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is they think they can intercept every ball.
Right. Right.
And that's a dangerous thing sometimes. So
It is. It is. Yeah. So we'll get into this a little
yeah,
bit later. Yeah. But scared the crap out of Mike Florio at PFT when
I saw it.
they were
Yes.
on live, and I just ran up on there. So they got to
Hey,
check their security there.
I wish I knew you were going on there. I said, Mike is really trim. Like, right? I couldn't get over how trim he was.
Is he? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's because he's sitting next to, Christopher, who's overweight,
Yeah. Big
so
Igor over there.
yeah. But yeah, no, it was good. I saw we turned it on
Yeah.
and we talked it right from the start. Yeah,
Yeah.
when athletes do that sometimes. You walk by somebody, man, you give them a whack on the back, and they, hey, what are you doing? And then you do it to a
Yeah.
normal. You go, hey, what the hell was that? I mean, oh my
Yeah.
God.
And that did actually happen because Florio, Christopher was trying to kind of pick on Florio a little bit. And I said, hey, man, and I started hitting Christopher. And Florio was like, you're coming back on the show.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Just because I was defending him a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I made the mistake when I said goodbye to Florio. I kind of gave him like a handshake and then the hand over the back. But according to him, I smacked his back a little too hard. And he immediately went, he's like, Matt's got the Phil Simms hands, like just heavy. And I'm just like, man, I was just saying hi, but
Yeah.
you know who else I saw too, and like this is where I kind of became just like a 7-year-old boy again, like watching NFL films and stuff like that. John Riggins.
Oh my God, yeah. How about that?
Man, John Riggins. I mean,
was-
and yeah, go ahead, big guy.
He was the first Neanderthal. You said Neanderthal? Is that right? Did I say that?
Neanderthal. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no R at the end.
Yeah, well,
Neanderthal.
he was like his body type. He's the guy like, everybody. Well, I always say this, and I mean it in fun, everybody, is that you got to shoot him twice. One ain't going to do it.
Yeah, right.
He's just that guy. I mean, his whole structure and, and then put that body on a pair of feet that were nimble and can make the cuts. And, he was just looking for an edge. Yeah, you're going to get a chance to tackle me, but it's not going to be all up. So and he would just rip those arm tackles. Oh my
Man.
God.
And that's the thing too. Like when you watch some of the film, of course, when he's playing running back for the Redskins at the time,
Right.
you're thinking, okay, like yeah, he's pretty strong size back. Like, he's pretty big, I don't know. But then when you meet him in person, and you see him, and you're like, no, this is a 6'2", 240-pound like machine of a man. Like,
Natural.
and you can see the density too. Like you're saying, like his bone density.
Yeah.
It is got to be different than the average human being. There's no day he's probably got another half an inch of bone marrow. Like it's unbelievable.
That's kind of the way it is.
Presence.
So many players in the NFL, they're just they were really built and whatever put on earth to play football.
Yeah.
They just got the ideal body that doesn't get hurt, that still can perform at a high level, all this stuff. And that was Riggins, man.
So cool. So awesome. Yeah. And he loves you.
Oh, that's nice.
And that's what's amazing though, too. Like, as I see all of these legends, right, that we essentially worship as young football players, or even now too, like looking at it from a different perspective, like of being a former player now in media and all that. I mean, just a credit to you, big guy, for the way that you played as a player, how you carried yourself, how you impacted the game and broadcasting and all that, because these guys just cannot say enough good things about you and what you mean to the game. So just take the compliment. I know it's difficult for you to take compliments. I know it's tough for you to celebrate yourself. You're very good at celebrating others. You need to be celebrated more. These guys did a great job doing it. Look at him. He's got a drink of water there. He's like, I'm schwitzing over here. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. No, the thing about him too, he played on a slow field.
Right.
There was you go down to Washington, the grass, it wasn't like
right. Yeah.
No, it was slow grass.
Yeah.
And he played on that damn thing, so just think, I can't remember I can't even picture a shot of John Riggins where he was on turf.
Right.
Everything he saw in his whole career, it seemed like
He always had a grass stain. Yeah, always a grass stain on the jersey, right?
And he was the guy that when he runs, you don't want to be behind him because he's throwing dirt back, man, when he runs, like a horse.
Yeah.
Really
cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard maybe Christopher was talking about it yesterday that, sooner or later, every field in the NFL is going to be turf. And probably most of the stadiums. Did I hear right? The Denver Broncos.
They just, unfortunately, they just don't have the budget to keep the grass, good. That's really what it comes down to.
Listen,
you gotta cut, certain places where you need to save some money.
Yeah, well, Matt, Christopher, whatever.
Whatever.
It comes down to, too, when you have a dome stadium, it's about money. Now they can have concerts in there all the time, and even if it's a turf field, you still can do that. And here at the Giant Stadium, they have like the truck races sometimes in there. It's man.
Yeah, and that's funny that you bring that up too, right? Because the owner of the Denver Broncos brought up like, oh yeah, we want to get a retractor roof. I'm like, honestly, just win the game. Like, don't give me that crap that you need a roof and that's going to help you. Like, part of the reason why it's tough to play in Denver in the first place is because it is outside and because it is cold and because it is miserable and you just lost. So I don't need this like, oh yeah, we need a retractable roof because it's like, no, you probably were going to lose the game anyway, because you just missed an opportunity.
Great point. Yeah,
but like, come on, man, don't give me that crap.
It is. It's a great advantage. Just listen, we had it at times too in Giant Stadium because I don't know why, but it just seemed like for most of the year we're going to play in a lot of wind and it's colder than you think it should be. And
I think the elements are part of the game. And if you take that away from it, it's like, okay, that's great. But it's just like, all right, we're just wrapping everything up in plastic again. Right. So it's like, what's fun about that? Even Kurt Warner mentioned that too. He's like, I just want to see it. No doubt. I get it. We want to see the best play. There's no doubt. I agree with that. But the elements and battling through the elements are, I think, a huge aspect of the game that we originally all started to sign up and play for when we first started playing the game. And I think if it's like, it's just a natural part of it, right? It really is. It's an extra element. It is the fifth element of football.
Yeah.
It's coaching, it's offense, defense, special teams, and it's the weather, right? It's the elements that you have to endure to succeed and be good.
Yeah. If you play in certain, there's quite a few teams really, you still need the coaching, the quarterback, a lot of skilled people have to deal with the weather. You got to know, can we do that? And, of course, you make adjustments to your game. I mean, we played in the championship game against the Washington Redskins, and, it was 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
You run out there and you go, oh, my God, is this really happening? I'm in the championship game, and it's like –
yeah.
Yeah, and it's
that's part of your legacy. That's why you're a great quarterback, because you were able to, again, just take the compliment. We stop talking in defense of like, I wasn't that good. Okay, it's okay. I just won a Super Bowl MVP, and I only threw 3 incompletions and had 2 drops. No big deal.
Shut your ass up. Okay.
Yeah, but still, like, it's just like that's why you're a great. You were playing in Giant Stadium on a turf field with a 3-foot crown when there was weather and it was an issue. Like, that's different. Not a lot of quarterbacks can navigate that. We know for a fact that Troy Aikman, when he played in New York against the New York Giants, was like, I'm going to check the ball down every single time because I don't want the ball to get away from me. And it's like, that's fine. He's a Hall of Famer, but he knew that he couldn't play that style of ball like you in that environment where you're just throwing piss missiles through the wind to Mark Bavaro, to the back shoulder. And it's just like, so that's part of, your legacy as a football player. You had the ability to do that. And I think when we try to fabricate everything, we're taking away from another aspect of the game that brings out greatness like yourself to it.
Great point. Really, I'm not going to argue that point at all. Yes. As I would tell people, when it was really, really windy, you run out and you go, well, it's going to be a really average game by me today because I'm not going to, you got to give it all the respect in the world. And knowing you throw that out cut, which you would usually hit, but the wind, you're not sure. So you throw it 1 more yard either way because and it's incomplete.
Yeah.
So, as I I think I said it to Joe Montana. See, Joe, the problem with you, you thought you were going to be Joe Montana, but
Right,
you
right.
know, but that doesn't happen. And you just got to take expectations and make them real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so great. I've said this many times, running off the field, and there's Bill Belichick going, "Oh, what do you think?" And I go, "Bill, he's so and so is such a coward. He won't throw one damn." And Bill loved all that. He goes, "Yeah, I think you're right."
You're right. You're right. Absolutely. And hey, even with Montana, he had to be one of those quarterbacks that could handle a wet football, right?
Yeah,
And just kind of how it was in San Francisco. Like, everyone knows that old stadium, like there would be that fog or that mist that would come in, and the field would be kind of dry, but like if the surface was wet, like the football was slick. And so that was something that he had to manage, right? With
yeah.
with this high
Those
powered
those
offense.
great talent. Yeah, I wish you could have got him on because he would have a lot of fun talking with you. But his great talent, he was so he never tried to overpower the ball.
Right.
And so he always had control of it. He
Yeah.
had big hands too. And the thing in San Francisco, yeah, you could get wind and fog, but man, that moisture in the air, damn, that was good
It could
stuff.
be tough. It could be tough sometimes. Like it could work for you, it could work against you, in some of
Yeah,
those things, depending on how it goes. But yeah, like hey, you learn to really drive the football because that's what Giant Stadium asks you to do, right? Like
yeah.
there
Most of the time, yes.
a lot of the times, like when you watch the games, and when you see the trash bag doing this in
Oh
midfield,
my God.
it's like okay, yeah, this
Yeah,
is a rough environment.
what do you call it? Those long, like it's like a long roll of paper, toilet paper.
Yeah.
You're standing there getting ready to get in a huddle, and it wraps around your leg. You go, man, what the hell? So it's all good.
It
So
is
what?
good.
So you're having a great week out there. Good.
Yeah, been busy, having fun, doing a lot of cool stuff and doing some stuff at the NFL experience as well, having fun there, talking to fans. And yeah, it's been a great experience. And
For you.
it's been great. It really has. And San Francisco is a very cool city as far as its architecture, and it's very unique in itself, right? With the
Yeah.
hills and all that. And a good food scene too. So I've been eating good, Phil. When I do eat, which is like very randomly with all the stuff that's going on.
You
Uh, but
smashed.
when I but when I do, yeah, when I do eat, I'm crushing it.
There's nothing
Um,
like being really hungry and you sit down to some good food. You just, everybody shut
oh
up.
man, no doubt. No,
I got work to do here.